Well, a huge valuation gap between Man United and Atalanta over Rasmus Hojlund transfer has been really noticed. But amidst that being one of those playing on the cards, United are continuing to hold talks with the Atalanta side. Welcome to United Matters channel. How are you guys? And where you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David RD is my name. We call upon for 300 likes on this video, and let's see ourselves subscribing to this channel because we want to hit 14,000 subscribers, and we are just some few subscribers away from hitting 14,000 subscribers, a very huge landmark that we want to hit before the end of today. That is it. Now we are talking Scott McTominay, one of the huge and shocking interests coming in from one of the best footballing sides in the Premier League, and another side in the Italian Serie A, the interest in Scott McTominay. And lastly, we're going to talk about how Pochettino was pushing for Mason Mount to stay, and Mount went ahead to really snub Chelsea and said, I want to play for Erik ten Hag. So it's really going to be a very interesting show that most of you are going to enjoy, and your comments will be welcome into the comment section below on what your thoughts are on every story that you're going to front onto this channel. So we have a story coming in from Sky Sports confirming to us that Manchester United remain in talks with Rasmus Hojlund's Atalanta over the signing of Rasmus Hojlund. Their valuation, there is a gap in valuation, and obviously that value in valuation was confirmed to us by people like Fabrizio Romano, that they want close to 60 million euros. They want between 60 to 70 million euros for Rasmus Hojlund. If you have to turn that into pounds, that means they want close to 53 million pounds for the player. So the valuation is simple, and United are really trying to lodge bids that are really so much in the region of Atalanta. It was rumored that United put up a bid of 35 million euros that was turned down by Atalanta because it does not really hit the realistic evaluation of their player. And what led to the escalation in the price of Rasmus Hojlund? It was because of what United had offered or wanted to offer to Spurs to sign Harry Kane. Why? Harry Kane is 30 years of age. United were willing to pay close to 100 million pounds for the player, and Atalanta got to know that, all right, if you're willing to pay that amount of money for that kind of player, then that means for that 20-year-old you have to be paying more. So you'll understand that even other interests, even other players that United was interested in were into that mark of valuation. Victor Osimhen, 150 million euros. Kolo Muani, 100 million euros, 24 years of age. Goncalo Ramos, 22 years of age, 120 million euros. Who else? Dusan Vlahovic, 100 million euros. So every striker that United was pointing at was going in for 100 million euros. And before all that scenario came up to consideration, Atalanta was valuing Rasmus Hojlund at 35 to 40 million euros. But when that scenario really developed, they got to know that, all right, United have to find themselves in a position of obviously getting us close to 60 or 70 million euros, because a player is not a proven one, but he is one of those that you would love to really see at your team, because he's going to be the next big thing in the world of football. That is Rasmus Hojlund. And secondly, what is really affecting this deal to that level is simple, that United paid between 35 to 40 million pounds for Amad Diallo. He was at Atalanta in 2020, and Amad Diallo had not even played 90 minutes in all the years he had spent at Atalanta in the first team, but was one of the huge prospects that everyone was talking about. And we paid 35 to 40 million pounds. That was in 2020. Now, how does Atalanta sell us a player for less the amount of money they signed Diallo. Yet this player has proven to be one of those players that is going to be the best and has been playing every minute at Atalanta the previous season and has been firing up all cylinders at the Danish national team. That is it. So that is something that obviously bites us back, you know, because of the poor decision we made to buy that player. And I would assure you and confirm to you that if at all Liverpool, Arsenal or Chelsea went in for Rasmus Hojlund, they would pay 35 million euros and Atalanta would get hold of that money and obviously take it. But for Man United, because there is what we call the Man United tax being initiated or activated by the bad negotiations we've been able to do in the previous years, obviously that is going to really cause lots of uncertainties in our bargains of players that we really deserve. You know, look at McAllister. You know, if at all it was Man United, it would have gone ahead to pay close to 60 million pounds. Liverpool paid only 35 million pounds for the player. They are trying to rectify it nowadays, but it's really going to take a lot of time for rectification. That is it. So, as it stands, there is a huge gap between United and Atalanta in the valuation of Rasmus Hojlund. United believe he's between 35 to 40 million euros. Atalanta believe he's between 60 to 70 million euros, almost times two the valuation. So wait and see how that pans out. But some positivity that Fabrizio Romano is going to hate to drop to us about the Rasmus Hojlund deal is as follows. Rasmus Hojlund remains on United's list. The club appreciate him and believe he has huge potential, but want to pay a fair price. The discussions are positive with the entourage and the player who is very open to the deal of joining Manchester United. Now, Fabrizio has confirmed to us that Rasmus Hojlund is open to joining Manchester United. His representatives are also good and okay with it for him to join Man United. And remember, Erik ten Hag signed him to the same company that really manages Erik ten Hag, as Zidane Iqbal was signed there too. So it shows you that the entourage and the representatives are really pushing for that side, but Atalanta is trying to play hardball for this deal to be really given green light to happen at the club of Man United. So I really understand that we are going to get this deal over the line. I really believe it, because Samuel Lucas told us that United has 65 million pounds put aside to sign a striker. Right? 65 million pounds put aside to sign a striker. And I anticipate that we might get in a world-class striker in January when this takeover saga is done, than landing him in the summer transfer window. That means that we can easily get in Rasmus Hojlund to come in and lead the line at Man United from August, September, October, November, December. And as I've always told you, that to me doesn't worry me, because we've seen that even if you really lead the table for how many months and you cannot keep the consistency from March, April and May, you can't win the Premier League. So if we can really get up that charge in the January transfer window for a new centre forward, that will be great for Man United. So wait and see where that is going to really happen. Let's go to Scott McTominay, and there is a shock interest for me, though there are two, but one of those are going to hit to shock me. AS Roma and Brighton are both interested in Scott McTominay, with the latter being a potential replacement for Moise Caicedo should he leave. Sorry about that. Aren't you surprised? Aren't you surprised about the coming in of Brighton to sign Scott McTominay? For AS Roma, I'm not surprised. Why? AS Roma is managed by Jose Mourinho, or Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho was the manager who really ushered Scott McTominay deeply into that team of Man United. He believes in him. He sees him as one of those players that should be really playing some serious football in Italy, and he believes he can go there and obviously thrive under him. So for AS Roma, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised for the side of Brighton, because when you look at what De Zerbi really wants in his players at Brighton, does he really tick all the boxes? It all goes back to what we've been told about every manager that's gone ahead to really come in at Man United. They've always told us that Scott McTominay is a very good player. That is it. That is a very good player. He has always gone ahead to really look as one of the promising talents. But since the age of 20, he's promising, and now he's 25, soon making 26, and he's promising. And if you know what it's all about, you should get rid of him. It's good to see if the two teams are really interested in him, and I think the best thing to do is to really get him out of the club of Manchester United. But there is a condition set on his departure. Again, this is Tron Marshall from the senior football reporter at the Manchester Evening News, informing us that any move for Scott McTominay would be dependent on Manchester United getting an offer too good to refuse and whether he wants to move on. So I wonder why they are hinting on him wanting to move on. Are we doing what Scott McTominay wants, or we are doing what the club of Manchester United wants? The fact is, Scott McTominay doesn't deserve to be at Man United, and it should be simple mathematics. You sell Scott McTominay £30 million to £30 million to where? You sell him £30 million to AS Roma or Brighton. You use that amount of money and negotiate with Fiorentina, then you get Sofiane Amrabat. That is it. That is it. Simple business, because Sofiane Amrabat is 100 times better than Scott McTominay. He can play as a CDM, he can play as a box-to-box midfielder, he's a press-resistant player, and he really helps you gain control of the ball, something that Scott McTominay doesn't do, because every time he's played in the CDM or he's ever hiding. That is Scott McTominay for you. So, us getting in amount of money that we want will be hard, but this should be about clearing players to really have a squad that is really on the levels of Erik ten Hag, because Scott McTominay is nowhere near an Erik ten Hag player. Fred Rodriguez is nowhere near an Erik ten Hag player, you know. So why should we listen to what Scott McTominay wants? Scott McTominay should be sold, and this is where I have a problem with the players that will get from the academy. Most players that really cross from the academy and obviously come to the or make it to the first team are really hard to dislodge out of the team, because the board looks like they're trying to really getting rid of their legacy, you know. A player that's going to have to pass through all the ranks of the team and is now being put in the situation of obviously being thrown under the bus at the club of Man United. So it's good to see either the likes of Garnacho have coming through, but we are having a problem, a really huge problem as far as this is concerned, because Scott McTominay doesn't deserve a chance at Man United anymore. For the last 5 years, he has been given chances. What has he done? Nothing. So if Casemiro never came up to the rescue last season, I don't see where would have gone ahead to go as a club of Manchester United. So lastly, let's discuss about Mason Mount. Mason Mount. Fabrizio Romano via the court offside told us that Mauricio Pochettino really wanted to skip Mason Mount at Chelsea, but Ten Hag was crucial to bring him to Manchester United. Now, I had lots of stories coming in through indicating that, especially from Chelsea fans, Mount is not a very good player, so you guys just need to find yourselves in a situation of really not really getting us the best that we deserve. He deserves to go. Last season he was really trash, but when you look at the previous seasons, Mount has been the best player at Chelsea and has gone ahead to win their player of the year very many times. So as it stands, they've gone ahead to obviously talk shit about the player because he's leaving, but the fact is their manager knew exactly the potential that is hidden into the player and he never wanted him to leave. That is it. Coming in from Fabrizio Romano. So Chelsea fans, relax and float. Mason Mount wanted to leave. You wanted to keep him and say, no, I want to go to Man United. So you've lost the battle, accept it and move on. So your thoughts on Hojlund, huge gap valuation, is welcome in the comment section below to make about Scott McTominay. Two clubs coming in to really fight for him, that is Brighton and AS Roma, being broken by a credible source, that is Jacobs Ben. And what do you make about Mason Mount snubbing Chelsea as Pochettino wanted to keep him? I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living true God protect you abundantly. Me out for now. See you later. Ciao, ciao.